Hello. Are you unsure or have you fallen in love with a suite of products, but then unsure of how you're going to use them all? My name is Amanda Farlinger, and I help busy women create memories while crafting cards and scrapbook layouts using stamps, ink, and paper. And today we're going to um, showcase the Abstract Beauty Suite, which is one I fell in love with in the catalog, but I haven't used it much. So we're going to focus on it today. So I'm going to switch cameras. All right. So first up, we have this bundle. It's the Hello Beautiful bundle. And when you buy it as a bundle, you save 10%. So this stamp set has some great sentiments in it with some, I'm going to say blobby, but they're really cool background kind of splotches. And then the beautiful shapes dies, which I put in an extra clear stamp case with some magnet sheets. So you have some hexagons, which are my favorite, and some different circles and some other die cuts that you can use. So these will fit in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss Mini or in the main bigger machine. So we're going to do some stamping first. So I have these two pieces of basic white cardstock. And this is a photopolymer set, so it is nicer when you can use some kind of a foam underneath it. And of course, if you've watched my videos before, I use the Stampin' or the Stamparatus Deluxe Foam Mat. All right, so we have the stamp set. We need some die or some, get ahead of myself. We got to stamp first, then we die cut. So I'm not sure what color I want to use, but these are some of the colors that, so we have Blushing Bride, Balmy Blue, Crushed Curry, Night of Navy, and Pumpkin Pie. And I think I'm going to use Crushed Curry and maybe some Blushing Bride and maybe some Pumpkin Pie. We'll see. I don't know if I'll use the other ones or not. We'll just have to see. So if you buy the stamp set and dies together, they're $57.50 Canadian instead of $64 if you buy them separately. All right, so stamp set down or stamp down, pick it up. We're going to use Blushing Bride for this one. And I'm going to put this on here because we're going to die cut this out in a minute. So we ink up our stamp, and then we want to kind of stamp off some of the ink. And then right in the center, that still turned out really dark. All right, let's try this again. So ink off, flip the cardstock because they're two-sided, which is awesome. And then we're going to stamp. Yeah, that's not so dark. And then our Simply Chamois with some, and I put my thumb right in the ink, but that's okay. So Simply Chamois to clean that up. Close up the ink pad. Use the Simply Chamois to clean off this excess ink, just so I don't get ink everywhere. And then we're going to grab some Memento Black. The hardest part is trying to decide which sentiment to use. So I'm going to do a thank you. Where's the thank you? Thank you up here. I don't know. Should we do thank you? Yeah, we'll do thank you. So I'm using quite a big, or not, I'm not going to use this bigger block. I don't think you can really see. So let me pull this up. So see how big the block is compared to the stamp? So I would recommend a smaller block because then you're not going to get ink on the block and then on your project, because that's not fun. All right, so ink this up with a thank you. Clean it. I know you can't see me cleaning it, but I have put it on my my cleaner there. All right. See, it's clean. So this here, we're going to die cut in a minute. But first, I'm just going to grab a different stamp here. I'm going to grab this squiggly thing. And then I'm going to also put the thank you away. And then we're going to use the XX, which I think I need a smaller block for it. And I don't know if I'm going to use any of the other. I don't know if I'll use any of the others. Maybe this one, because this one seems kind of fun. It looks fun. All right, so we're going to take this piece here, and we're going to use crushed curry and pumpkin pie for our blotches. And I'm going to use the same technique. So you can use this technique with any stamp. So you stamp off, and you may have to stamp off twice depending, and you might get a different look if you're using cardstock instead of the deluxe foam mat. And it also will depend on how much ink is on. So see how much ink is on your ink pad too. So I need to put some more pumpkin pie ink in my ink pad. So that's probably why there's such a big difference. Okay, and I'm going to put this one over here. I kind of like the pumpkin pie, how it looks better. I know, I should really open my ink pads all the way, but maybe I'll stamp off 3 times and see. 3 times kind of works. Now, my area here is getting a little saturated with ink. So my bonus tip of the day is to order ink refills. Whether you can afford to do so when you purchase the ink pad or you do it at a later date. So if you caught my live video on my Facebook page, a week, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember now, I shared products that I pre-ordered for the new catalog, and I only purchased the ink pads. And I placed an order today for the refills. There we go. So my card is kind of filled. So put these away. Clean up this. I guess something I could do is you could have a couple of these deluxe foam mats around. So if you felt it was too wet, you could just keep on going. All right. So let's just give it a little dry wipe with a cloth there. All right, so now I wanted to put some of these X's, and I'm going to use the Memento Black. And we're just going to add some of these little X's. And I don't know, we might add some lines maybe, but I don't want to use black. Do I want to use black? I don't think I want to use black. All right, so maybe I have to pull in maybe the Night of Navy, because it's not going to be as dark, and I'll stamp it off. So we have this little smushy, there we go, smushy line. And we're going to use the Night of Navy and do a couple do one stamp off, squiggly line, just a few of them. And maybe I'll do one up here kind of off the page. There we go. All right, so clean that. And then the fun part comes. Oh, I really need to wash this now. Look at the mess it's making. All right. I almost need a second Simply Chamois so I can keep things clean and hopefully not get my fingers dirty. All right, so we're done stamping, I think. So we have our main image piece and we have our sentiment piece. Before I do the die cutting, I wanted to show off the amazing Designer Series paper. It has gold accents, And I've used a little of it for some projects. So here are some of the designs kind of quickly panned through. And I've already picked out the pieces I'd like to use. So we have, that's a piece for the envelope flap. So I have this main piece, and this designer paper is really interesting because it's 4x6 in size, which is great for the next product I'll share after we do some die cutting. All right. So so this is the Stampin' Cut mini machine, and we have our base plate and our 2 cutting plates. So I usually use one that I will die cut on. So here is our sentiment, and I'm going to grab this little dude, and it has, my camera show, it has this extra little decal, or detail I should say, around it. So it goes like that, and put that in there. And then we can roll this through. So we have a die cut sentiment. So come on, off you go. So if you can see it, it has like that little embossed edge around it, which is pretty cool. All right, so now we're going to use, but we need the trimmer. We want to use this designer series paper, but it's 4 inches wide, whereas our mini cuts to 3.5. So I'm just going to trim one of these down, or both of them down, to 3.5, or just under 3.5. And we're going to die cut some hexagons. Move some things out of my way. So we're going to die cut some hexagons, I think, to use. And I'm trying to decide, I think we'll use the small little hexagon. So we just put that on there. And because that one has a design, I'm trying to get it kind of sort of straight. But if it isn't, that's no big deal. All right. And I'm going to do that twice. And put that through. And we're going to do that again with this black stripe design. But this time I'm going to, how do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I want it like that. So just moving the die around to see where you might want it to cut. And I find that it's easier to put the die up here closer to where it's going to go in first rather than out here. If you put it out this way, I find that it tends to kind of slide around a little. So you might not get it exactly where you want it to die cut. All right. So now, if you're someone who doesn't have a mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, it is very affordable. But if it's not something that you don't want, then you can purchase everything else in the suite and just forego the dies. So you save yourself not quite $37 and less than that off the price. All right, so we have our die cuts. We have our stamped images. Oh, look at that, kind of works too, but I want the stripe. All right, so let's recap. So we have the Hello Beautiful stamp set, which has some great different sentiments in it. And then the Beautiful Shapes dies, which I love the hexagons. And this is what we're going to talk about next. These Abstract Beauty cards and envelopes. There's 10 cards and 10 envelopes in a pack. And I've already picked out what ones I'm going to use. Excuse me. And these are, I've used a couple of the cards, but some of them are full color, and they're 4x6 cards, so you can put them in the mail. So this full black one, which is pretty cool, but I'm actually going to show you how you can use it if you're not sure how to use a full colored card like that, especially a dark color. And then the envelopes have these really cool flaps. All right, so the one we're going to use today, it has this pink, kind of very similar to the shape I stamped with the colors. And we're going to use the black card. So I'll do the envelope in a moment. So we have this really pretty 4x6 page. And we are going to put it, we're not going to cut it. We're going to put it directly on to our card base, our pre-designed card. And we're going to cover up the black. So we're just gonna, I start with the open side is how I do it. You could also open up the card and start with the fold, whichever way you find is easier. A little trial and error might happen. So then there's our card, and you wouldn't really know that it is a black card under there. So then we're going to take some more of my favorite adhesive, which is some liquid glue. Oops. And put that on about there, which I usually use this so I know that I'm kind of straightish. I'm kind of there. It kind of blends in with the background. Maybe I should have chose a different piece of designer paper, or maybe it's just fine. I don't know. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think of this card, if I should have used a different design. So I'm just putting a couple of dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. And I think I'm going to use three of these hexagons. See, this card is not quite working out how I thought it would. It's kind of blending all together. So maybe I won't use the hexagons. Maybe I'll just use the sentiment. And is it something where I have to do a strip maybe instead? Let's see. Maybe we do a little strip. And you know, sometimes this happens. How thick is this? So we need 1.5-ish. Let's do 1 3/4 inches by 4. And sometimes when you're creating a card, it just doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. So let's try this. There's a lot going on this card. I kind of like it. But I thought about using those hexagons, but that's not going to happen now. So let's just put a little bit of glue on the back of this. And put it down here. And then, where's my little garbage can? We'll put the sentiment down. All right, so those are the cards and envelopes. There's the designer series paper. So if you wanted to have that, shows off a better view of all the paper that's included. And I love the gold accents. And then next up are these adhesive back hexagons. There we go. Adhesive back hexagons. And I'm going to use, take your pick tool, the putty end, and we're going to take a couple of the black ones, just because I could use some pink ones. But we're going to put the hexagon, excuse me, and hexagon. We usually do them in threes. Let's put a hexagon up there. And then you put your cap back on to protect the putty. All righty. So that is the card I made. What do you think? I like how it turned out now. The way it was going, I don't think so. All right, so one last little tip for you is actually putting the glue on the actual envelope on the flap is better. And then, oh, it's not long enough. Didn't even look at that. That's okay. So it'll still be pretty. And then you want to just take your, I wonder if it would work better if you put the paper on an angle. Let's see. I know I already have this glued, but let's grab another piece. Let's grab this piece here. And if I put it on an angle, nope. Okay, so it doesn't quite work, but that's okay. I don't care, there's a little bit of white. This just makes it prettier. So when someone opens it to get my card out. And the other thing you could do too, I'm not going to, but you could stamp the envelope too. All right, so we didn't use these, but this is also part of the suite, part of the suite. And so it has some lovely little die cut and gold embellishments. And then finally, the Abstract Beauty Suite. So if you have the mini catalog, it is on page 48 and 49, and it has one lovely number, so you can order the whole suite. So it is $110, and there's that number 158052, and everything I've shown tonight, so everything on page 49, is included in that suite. And that includes the 10% off that bundle for the stamp set and dies. So I hope that you're interested in the Abstract Beauty Suite and that it's something that you'll have a better idea of how you can use the items together. And I hope that you'll join me next time for my next project. Have a great